Hello everyone and welcome to this new video on the channel. I am Akash, and in this video I am going to show you how you can create this guess the number game. So in this game, as you can see written here, that a random number is going to be generated between the number 1 and 100, and we will get just 10 turns for guessing the number that is going to be generated, and it is also going to say whether the number that we entered is higher than the random number or lower than the random number. So here we have two buttons. So this if we click, then it is going to start the game. So these elements are going to be visible. So now let's enter a number. Okay, so this number is lower than the number that is generated, so let's enter a higher number. Okay, it's still lower. Oh, so as you can see, the congratulations message is here. So the random number that was generated was 80 and we guessed it right. Now if you have noticed here, then this input field is disabled and this check button is also disabled, so the user can no more enter any other guesses. Now to reload this game, we have to just click on this reload button and the elements are going to hide again. Now if we click on the start button, then it is going to start the game again. So now let's enter the lower number. Okay, now okay, it's still lower, still lower. Oh, okay, so the number was 90. So this is the game that we are going to create in this video. So before jumping on to the coding part, let's get the basic logics for creating this game. Okay guys, so for this guess the number game, what we will first need is, we will first need to generate a random number that is between 1 to 100. So we will first need to generate a random number between 1 to 100, and we will need to store this random number into a variable, and we will need this to be the global variable, and we will then afterwards check this number with the number that the user has entered. So first we will need to create this. So then next we are going to create another variable where we are going to store the value of count. So first we are going to create a count variable where we are going to assign it to 1. So the initial value here will be 1 and it is going to go till 10. So the user will only be able to insert 10 guesses. So after this 10 guesses, we have to make sure that the user will not be able to enter any further guesses by disabling the input box and the button. So for this we will first need an if condition. So in this first if condition, we are going to check whether the count is less than or equal to 10. So if the count is less than or equal to 10, then we are going to go further and write another if statement. So in this if, we are going to check whether the user entered number is less than the random number that is generated. So the user entered number and less than the random number. So we are going to check this condition in this if, and if it satisfies this, then we are going to execute this block, and if it doesn't, then we are going to write another if statement, another else if statement. In that else if statement, we are going to check whether the user entered number is greater than the random number. So if this is satisfied, then this block will be executed. So in both these block, what we are going to execute is, in this first block, if the user entered number is less than the random number, then we are going to write an message that the user entered guess is less than the number that is generated, and here we are going to display a message that the user entered number is greater than the random number that is generated. And then after, if both of these conditions doesn't satisfy, then we are going to write an else statement where we are going to display that the user has successfully guessed the number. So here that message is going to be executed, and we want the game to be over here, and after this the user should not be able to enter any more guesses. So we are going to write that logic in this else part, and after the execution of this if block, we are going to write the else block for this, where this condition if is not satisfied, then the message will be printed that you don't have any more chances to guess the number. So now that we know what to do, we can now get on PC and write the logic for this in JavaScript. Okay, now let's start with the coding part. So here is the index.html, and so we have used these header tags for this name of the game, and here is one paragraph tag where we have specified how you can play the game. And then after, here we have these two buttons. One is the start button that we saw for starting the game, so we have an on click event going on here. So when we click on this start button, then this start function is going to run in JavaScript. So we will create the logic for this start function in JavaScript, and then we have this button's ID named start, and this button's ID named reset, and the class as start button and reset button. And here, so we have this window.location.reload, and with this the whole window is going to be reloaded, which will in turn reload the whole game and the progress that is made in the game by the user. Okay, then after we have a div section. This division, we are going to hide this division till the user clicks on this start button. So as soon as the user clicks, this division is going to be made visible. And then after, in this division we have this input element and one button for checking the guess that is being inputted in this input field. And then after, we have this two div tags for displaying the messages, like for displaying the guess that is being entered by the user, and the message that is whether the number that is written is greater than the random number or less than or equal to the random number that is generated. And then lastly, we have this link for the script tag. Okay, so then let's see the style.css file. So here we have this first box sizing style set to border box, and then for this body we have set the usual style. So the padding margin is made 0, then this is the font family that I'm using, and then we want all the elements to be aligned in center, and the size of the font is set to 20 pixels for all the elements. And then after, we have written the CSS for the start button. Now this same properties are set here for the reset button and as well as the check button that is this button. So these three buttons have the same CSS, and then after, as you can see here, the main div, that is this one, is made hidden here. So the visibility is set to hidden, and this visibility property we are going to make it to visible in the JavaScript. So we will see that later in this video. And then after, we have this guess box, that is this input field. So the CSS for that is written here. And then we have these two classes. One is for if the guess that is being checked, if it is wrong guess, then this CSS is going to be executed, and if the guess is right, then this CSS or this class is going to be executed. So now let's see how we can do all of this in JavaScript. Okay, so now first of all, what we have to do is we have to first get all the elements by their ID. So we are going to get all the buttons and all the div elements by their IDs that I have specified. So first of all, a variable with the name btn underscore start and document dot get element by ID, and the ID for this start button is start. Okay, now let's do this same for all the other buttons. So here for the reset button, and this for the check button. So here I'm going to write. Now let's create another variable, and in this variable we are going to specify the main div, and here I'm going to write main underscore div. Okay, now so we will need another two variables for the guess box, and another one for all guesses. So that is these. So first the guess box, that is the input field, and then this div element all guesses, and we also need another variable for this div. So another variable for high or low. Okay, so we have created all the variables that are needed. Now next we have to create another variable for storing the random number, and also we are going to generate the random number. So we are going to do it all together. So where then the random number, and then we will specify the math. Okay, so what I've done here is to get the random number, we have to use this math dot random predefined function. So this will generate a random number multiplying by 100. So we will get a random number between 0 to 99. So we are not going to get it till 100, so we have specified this plus 1, and we have used this math.flow as we don't want the decimal numbers, and we want that to be rounded off to a whole number. So this if generates number that is 1.42, then it is going to be rounded off to 1. So this is what the math.flow does. And then after we want another variable for counting the number of guesses. So we are going to set it to 1 by default, and it is going to go till 10. So we are going to increment the value for this count underscore guess variable, and these are all global variables. So now let's start off with the function. So first of all, we are going to write the logic for this start function. Okay, so function start. Okay, now what we want here is, as soon as this start button is clicked, then we want the main dash div element, that is this one, to be made visible. So the variable for that element is this one. So the variable, then dot style, then again dot visibility space equal to double inverted commas and visible. So now moving on to the next function, and the next function is this one, that is the check guess. So function check guess. Okay, here we will have to first create a variable for storing the value that is being inputted in the input field. So I'm going to give the name here to your guess. Okay, then we want it to get the number and exclude all the other things. So if the user writes a string and checks a string, then it is going to display an NaN error, that is not a number. So then we are going to write guess underscore box, that is our input box, dot value. Okay, so this is how we can get a value from that input box. And then we are going to start with the if condition. So in this if condition, first of all, we are going to check whether the count is less than 10, as we are going to give the user only 10 turns to guess the number. So we are going to check whether this is less than or equal to 10, and if it is, then we are going to give here check another condition. So in this condition we are going to, so in this if, we are going to check whether the your guess is less than the random number or not. So if this is less than the random number, so what we are going to do is, so we are going to just display the number that the user has written. So we are going to display it in the division, that is this division. So all guesses dot text content, then space plus equal to. So we are going to append the your guess text, and we are going to leave a space between all the guesses that are going to be made in the future. And then after, we are going to also have to give user a message saying that the number that you have entered is less than the random number that is generated. So we are going to write high or low dot text content equal to equal to your guess is low. So this message is going to be displayed, and then after we also want this CSS for the wrong guess to be applied on this element. So high or low dot class list dot add, and the name of this class that we want to add, so that is wrong. Okay, so the CSS for that is being written in this class is going to be applied onto this element. And then after we have to increment the count underscore guess variable. So count underscore guess plus plus, and we also want to clear the input field so that the user can enter another guess. So we can do that by guess underscore box dot value equal to okay. So this is done. Then after, if the guessed value is not less than the random number, then we have to check whether it is greater than the random number or not. So else if the guessed number is greater than the random number that is generated, so here we are going to copy and paste it, and we want this first line to be same, and here we are going to change low to high, and this is going to be same, and all the other things are going to be as it is. So the message is just going to be changed to high, then else. So now if none of these conditions are satisfied, then the number that the user has entered is equal to the random number. So we are again going to copy and paste this, and this first line is going to be same, and here we are going to write a message that is congratulations, your guess is correct, and change this to success. Let me see. Okay, the class name is success, and then we are going to remove this line, and instead of that we are going to run another function that is the game over, and in this function what we are going to do is we are going to make sure that the field, that is this input field and this check button, is both disabled. So we can do that like this: btn underscore check dot disable disabled is equal to true, and then same for the input box. So guess box dot disabled is equal to true. Okay, so this is going to disable the button and the input box, and another else statement is left. So if the count is greater than this, so then we will execute this else statement. So in this else statement we are going to write some of these statements as it is. So here the first statement is going to be as it is. In the second statement we are going to say that the game is over and sorry, your chances are over. Okay, and we'll change this to wrong, and this is going to be as it is, and the game is going to be over here as well. Okay, so we are done here. Now let's run this. So let's click on the start. Okay, so it is started, and let's write a number. So 10, so it is low. Let's write 50. This is also low. Then 90. Okay, 90 is high, so let's go down onto 80 is also high, and 70 is also high. So then 60, that's also high. So 55 is also high. 54. Okay, 53. Okay, so 53 is the correct guess, and the input field and the button are disabled, so they are no more clickable. Then let's reload, and now let's just check whether the game is getting over or not. So I'm going to just click on this check. Okay, so as you can see, the game is over, and sorry, your chances are over. So this is how you can create this guess the number game using the JavaScript. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, then click on that thumbs up button, and if you want to see more of these videos, then click on that red subscribe button and subscribe to this channel. And I also make web development and other programming videos, and I also make step-by-step guides on installing Linux systems onto your Windows system. So subscribe to this channel if you want to see those videos also. So that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.